What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to the Warframe video. So we got another episode this week in Warframe. We're going the entire weekly reset. And this week in Warframe, we have the new Halloween event. Well, actually, not the new Halloween, the returning Halloween event. Naberus Night starting on Wednesday. We got Bar returning, and we got a big mushroom frame new tile set update on the 15th that we're preparing for. So let's hop right in. But before we do, make sure you sub this channel with daily Warframe video uploads. We're also live on stream right now doing some Omniforma bundle giveaways. I might be able to hit the first one if you get here in time. First thing for your weekly reset is a Rifle Ribbon mod at Teshin for 75 skill lessons. Pretty decent option right there. So as far as what the Halloween event that's returning from the previous years, what that entails, it's going to be on Deimos over here, and you're going to be actually turning in mother tokens for some special Halloween vendor goodies. Usually in the past there was Exodia Contagion Arcanes, and there used to be the Ocucore Augment Sentient Barrage, I believe it's called, where you just basically get a kill with the Ocucore and it refills the magazine. So if you already have that, if you don't already have that, you should be fine getting like 1,000 mother tokens, which is about like 5 bounty runs worth. But yeah, there might be more new stuff to farm this year. We'll have to see about that on Wednesday. Expect coverage on this channel about that event, too. Alright, moving on to your Dormizone over here. If you want to use some Pathos clamps, you got options of a Rifle Ribbon mod, a Melee Ribbon mod, and some other somewhat decent stuff, like a Primary Arc and Adapter. This is a use for Pathos clamps, but remember, too, that Pathos clamps they can be used for Incarnons, and also these ribbons are not as expensive to sell nowadays as they used to be back in the day. Rifle ribbons are somewhat expensive, but yeah, pistol ribbons, melee ribbons, actually I think shotgun ribbons are pretty cheap too, just, yeah, not the easy, like 30 plat they used to be, at least in my opinion. Moving on to the calendar over here, this is a great place to get easy loot on a weekly basis as long as you've beaten the Hex quest. As far as what you got for loot this week from your calendar, the first drop will be a Topaz Archon Shard, very simple to get from just killing 100 enemies with melee weapons. You also have an option of 2 Arcanes instead, but I say go for this Topaz Archon Shard for sure. Next, you got your first Hex buffs, which will be buffs that apply to your 1999 missions, can make some of these weeklies a little bit easier. Punch Card, giving some punch to the primary weapons. Harden Up, giving overshields on kill. Or Practice Precision, giving melee crit chance. Those are all pretty good buffs. I'd say probably Harden Up's the easiest one, or the most useful one for like high-level missions. Moving on to the next loot drop, you get a Riven mod or a X-less Warframe adapter. Basically 20 plat or a Riven, it's really up to you which one is more useful to you. Afterwards, you got the Hex buffs being Heavy Javelin, which causes heavy attacks to release Radial Javelins, which is not as good as it seems, but it's still pretty decent. Friendly Fallout, attacks from Spectres and Companions have a chance to cause rad procs. Pretty good for distracting some enemies, I guess, but also not amazing, just like Heavy Javelin. And the other not that great one, Involuntary Transfusion, getting a weak point kill has a 25% chance of dropping Universal Orb. I'd say out of these 3, probably go for... these are actually some of the worst buffs, in my opinion. I'd say maybe go for Heavy Javelin or Friendly Fallout. But yeah, they're all mediocre, in my opinion. Really up to you. Next, you got an XP booster or a double Arcane drop as an option. Reminder that this Arcane drop cannot give you Arcane Universal Fallout, the new one, or the new-ish one that's really good for Oberon's rework, or it cannot give you Arcane Hotshot either. It's only like the normal Hex Arcanes that can drop. So I'd say maybe go for the XP booster on this one. Afterwards, you got a Birthday, and then you got a Primary Arcane Adapter or a Singular Arcane. Go for the Arcane Adapter for sure. And your last page of loot for the calendar this week, you got 200 Phosphor, which is basically a Arcane box from Lloyd. Or you can get a double Arcane pack, which is going to be 2 Arcanes from this tile set, or just basically 3 Arcanes from the tile set of your choice. I'd say maybe go for the Phosphor on that one. And for your very final drop here, you got a Singular Arcane or an X-less Weapon Adapter. Those are pretty bad choices. Really up to you which one you want to grab there. And for your last buffs, you got Heavy Mag, giving increased magazine size. Practice Precision, again, giving even more crit chance, or Got Your Back, giving Spectre and Companion damage. It really depends on what your go-to playstyle is, which one you want to grab. If you're using like a Carius Mirage to destroy the missions, go for Heavy Mags. If you're going for like maybe Cora, Crit Chance or something like that, go for Practice Precision. And if you just want a good buff to watch your back, got your back literally, then grab this buff to give your companions a big damage boost in those elite Temporal Archimedia missions. Alright, good stuff. So moving on to those elite Temporal Archimedia missions we were talking about, these will require rank 5 of the Hex Syndicate, but they do give you access to a great place to farm Archon shards on a weekly basis. One of the best spots to get the combined Archon shards. Actually, no, it is literally the best spot because these don't usually drop in other spots in the game.
Dude, I'm so
as far as your Elite Temporal Archimedia mission, let's see what we got for us this week. First mission, Exterminate. Second mission, Defense. Third mission, Tank Boss Fight. As far as your modifiers for the Exterminate, enemies take 95% less damage from non-weak point hits with sealed armor. Should be pretty easy because the Tekra have really easy headshots. Next one, Jade Spirits. This one is definitely a new modifier. Jade Wisps haunt the region. If approached, they chase down the player responsible and transform into Jade Light Beams. I'm pretty sure that's a new modifier. If so, if not, I've never noticed it, so it doesn't sound that bad. Getting chased by a Jade Laser, but we'll see about that. And also Myopic Munitions. Enemies will only take damage if a player is within 15 meters of them. This is Exterminate. If the Jade Light modifier is in a survival, it'll be a little more annoying, but yeah, Exterminate shouldn't be that bad. Next, Defense. First modifier, Miasmite Mash. Enemies drop Miasmite upon death and immediately rush Flare. They're very annoying, but you can kill them very easily. Like, they're pretty much just take like 1 damage to kill, so just keep an eye out for that while you're protecting Flare. Next, It's Alive. Within the underground area, hostile overgrowths will attack if a player stops moving. Basically, tentacles will attack you if you stop moving, but don't worry, the tentacles can hurt you, but they cannot hurt Flare, so don't worry about that too much. And the last modifier in the defense, Vampire Limitless. Slow-moving vampire ghosts will hunt you down and drain your energy and health really quickly. That is the most dangerous part of this mission. If you are not moving, you're going to get hit by tentacles, then you're also going to get hit by Vampire Limitless too, and you will be dead pretty quickly, so just be on the move for this mission. And the last mission here, Assassination. First modifier, Thermion Plating. Only Thermion rocket launchers can damage the tank. Reinforcements that drop the rocket launchers will arrive during the fight. This actually makes the fight a little bit easier, in my opinion. So, yeah, nice modifier right there. Just make sure you hit the weak points on the tank with these rocket launchers. Next, Scaldra Speedrun. All enemies are replaced with Scaldra and move much faster. Shouldn't be too big of a deal. And the last one, Hostile Regeneration. Enemies slowly regenerate health. That might be a little bit annoying with the only rocket launchers damaging the boss modifier, but I hope not, because I feel like I remember this being a mission issue in the past with rocket launcher modifier and HP regen, but hopefully it's not a problem this week. Next, we got the personal modifiers. These will let you get more loot if you turn them on, but they give you more debuffs as well. First one, Fractured Armor. Casting ability will reduce your armor by 10% for 10 seconds. Knife Step Syndrome. Lose 2 HP while moving. Jumping will pause the effect. Undersupplied. Max ammo of all weapons reduced by 75%. And Hypersensitive. Duration of negative procs is tripled. Okay, so this is actually very annoying with the miasmites because they cause heat procs when they explode. So when you have this on there, it's going to be like a 17-second heat proc. So be very, very careful about this modifier with the miasmite mash. But good luck getting your arcane hotshots. Remember, guys, Arcane Universal Fallout did increase in price pretty heavily after the announcement of the Oberon rework. So if you're grabbing Arcane Universal Fallout for picks, chips from that mission right there, make sure you sell them for a little bit more expensive than you were a week ago. All right, moving on to the next Elite Weekly, we've got the Elite Deep Archimedia. That was the Elite Temporal Archimedia. We're going to the same mission structure, but a different planet here on the Kavia basement. Now, as far as Wednesday, that will be the upstairs of Deimos, but we're going to the downstairs of Deimos. But yeah, as far as the Naberus event, don't worry about it too much. Just have some mother tokens if you care. It's going to be around for an entire month, too, so really not a big rush. Alright, moving over to our Elite Deep Archimedia over here, we can get some Archon shards and Legendary Arcanes from this mission really, really easy. As far as what these modifiers and missions are, we got Alchemy, Survival, and Disruption. So this will be a pretty long Elite Deep Archimedia this week. This looks like it might be actually pretty annoying, taking a quick look at what we have here. Okay, first mission, Alchemy. Mission modifiers as follows: Eximus Amphors. Eximus units are the only ones that drop the Amphor grenades, and they always drop them at least. So yeah, only Eximus will drop the Amphors. The grenades you need to progress the mission, so be looking out for that overguard pretty much. Next, Hostile Regeneration. Enemies all regenerate their health slowly. Not too big of a deal. In Warframe, we destroy things pretty fast. And Entanglement. Allies near a dead enemy will have reduced movement and parkour. That's a pretty free first mission, besides Eximus Amphors, sometimes making the mission take a little bit longer. Survival. We've got one of my least favorite modifiers here, hostile support. The life support tower delivery system is disabled. Actually, no, that's the one's not that bad. Basically, no life support towers, but instead you have to kill mechs that will appear every 90 seconds, dropping life support when killed. That one's not that bad. The one that is annoying is parasitic towers, so hostile support's not that bad. Just basically be ready to kill a bunch of overguarded mechs, because they're going to also have bolster belligerence. All enemies have overguard, equal to 50% of their maximum health. And the last one, Devil's Bargain. Allies near to enemy have increased ammo drain rate and increased fire rate. So all your ammo is gone pretty much instantly if you're near to enemy. But it's not that big of a deal. And the last mission here, Disruption, with double demolishers, the first modifier. Instead of one demolisher, you get two demolishers. They have reduced health. Honestly, this is an easier version of it than the normal version, because those double demolishers get stuck on walls a lot of the time. Explosive potential. Rupturing fragments replace shuffling fragments, so the arm enemies will explode, dealing a big chunk of damage. Just be careful about that. And also be very careful about the Vampire Liminus in this mission. Slow-moving vampire ghosts will chase you down and kill you real fast. So just be on the move, and also be looking out for exploding arm enemies. For your personal modifiers, Powerless is the first one. No abilities allowed until you get 50 kills. Elite on-call crew members can get those 50 kills for you. Permanent Injury. Max health is reduced every time you take damage. It sounds a lot scarier than it actually is. Energy Exhaustion. Lose 2 energy per second for each enemy within 10 meters of you. Overguard can prevent this energy drain, which is a good way to get rid of that. And Frame Curse. Activating the ability will drain, or will do 50 damage to you. So, Energy Exhaustion, you can just throw on your Arcwing gun, and you'll get 2,000 Overguard, and that might help you in these missions. Good luck getting those Archon shards. As far as an easy Archon shard to get, if you are rank 5 with this syndicate, you can actually get an Archon shard on a weekly basis from Bird 3, and this week you get a blue shard from Bird 3 for 30,000 reputation. Not my favorite shard type, but still, a shard is a shard, so they're bottlenecked in this game. There's really only certain places shards drop from, and that's one of them right there. Let's take a look at these Incarnons, because we've got some really, really top-tier Steel Path weapons this week that you might not have access yet already. But first things first, take a look at our normal path circuit. Some easy frames to farm out. We got Hydroid, Mirage, and Limbo. Now, as far as where these frames come from, you got Limbo coming from a quest and Samaris scanning, Mirage coming from a quest and Samaris scanning, and Hydroid coming from one of the Earth boss fights. So, as you can tell, that's a lot easier to get Hydroid than get Mirage and Limbo again. So, I'd recommend that if you want to grab one of these from the normal circuit, I'd recommend grabbing Mirage. Because her helmet is pretty good. The Eclipse helmet's really good for like health tanking and stuff. If you want to use the Oberon's rework, it can make him even more tanky. But yeah, you also have to scan a bunch of stuff for Samaris to get a second copy of this if you do want to, potentially grab it in the future. So I'd say grab Mirage, but if you want to grab Limbo too to save yourself from scanning, you can also do that. His helmet ability is Banish. And if for some reason you want to grab Hydroid because you want to farm Bayhek maybe, his helmet ability is Tempest Barrage. But yeah, just go for Mirage this week. You'll save yourself some time if you do want to grab that helmet ability. Moving on to the Steel Path Incarnons this week, we got some heavy hitters for sure, and we're going to go over all these Incarnon options for you as far as what you might want the most, because not everyone will want the exact same stuff. We're talking about what all these do. So we got the Bow Incarnon, the Electron Incarnon, the Furus Incarnon, the Furax Incarnon, and the Strawn Incarnon. As far as what the best Incarnons are this week, it's really going to depend what you want, but I will let you know that this Furus Incarnon right here is easily one of the best pistols in the entire game. Like, very easily. It will scorch high-level enemies instantly, and it's just an all-reliable pistol. You can even make it lifesteal and heal you up. So that would be my number one choice, but we're going to talk about all these do in depth. All right, first, Bow Incarnon. This thing is a very high-range staff. When you go to Incarnon form after a 6x combo multiplier, you get 4 extra meters of range. Very good for melee influence because this thing can get some crazy far range and also has very high status chance too, with the Absolute Dominion perk getting 34% increased status chance with our 4 meters of range on this. I think it's like 13 meters of range. And that I believe that's with a range ribbon. But yeah, you can throw on a melee influence, gives you another 17 meters of range wherever melee influence is. You're looking at like a 30 meter range melee for electric procs. So really strong. But that being said, you can do similar things to Nani Solo Incarnon as well. So yeah, it's really up to you. If you want to try this thing out, I like it nowadays more than I used to like it. But it's still not my favorite, but a very powerful melee for sure. Much better than the other melee this week. We can at least say that. Laketron Incarnon, this is a semi-auto rifle that once you go to get some headshots, go to Incarnon form, get a bouncing fireball launcher. Very good for level 10,000s. It's got some very powerful Incarnon perks as well, with critical parallel giving crit chance and crit damage, or flensing spikes giving permanent armor removal when causing a puncture proc with this weapon. You can go with the Latron Prime, but the Latron Wraith is also pretty decent if you have a Riven, with a little bit higher crit chance of the Latron Prime, but much lower status chance. Go for the Latron Prime as far as the overall best choice. Yeah, Bouncing Fireball Launcher in the primary slot, very powerful. Next, the Furious Incarnon. That's the one I said was number 1. This is a secondary pistol, and I use it on the Furious Normal with the Incarnon. As far as this thing does, get some headshots to go into Incarnon form, which makes this thing like a incinerating jet engine, basically, with extremely high fire damage, crit, and status. Some of these perks on here are pretty decent, like Elemental Balance, giving tons of status chance, and Storm Burst. Whenever an enemy is affected by an electric proc, you get more multi-shots. So if you'd like to use Wisp or Wisp Prime, this weapon's very good with Wisp Prime, with her electric motes causing electric procs, and you shoot them, they're on the electric proc, you get a bunch of extra multi-shot for free, pretty much, just for playing Wisp with electric motes. So good stuff on that. It's just, there's not much to say about it. The only downside of this weapon is that it has not the farthest range. It's not a sniper pistol. It's more like it's like a jet engine. You can burn things in front of you, but you're not going to be able to like snipe across the room. So I'd recommend it number 1 for sure, because you can use this thing everywhere in the game. Like I said, it also has an augment that gives you lifesteal, and that can get you healed all the way back to full like nearly instantly. So great choice to the Furious Incarnon. Next, the Furiax Incarnon. We go from one of the best in the game to one of the worst in the game. That being said, it's still strong because it's a Steel Path Incarnon, but the Furiax Incarnon is a fist weapon that once you get a 6x come multiplier to a heavy attack, you will get Incarnon form. Incarnon form lets you do heavy slam efficiency. You can basically slam heavy slams, not lose your combo. It also gives a fire damage field, but that fire damage field is very weak. You're mainly using the Furiax weapon to use it as a stat stick to buff your fire rate for your exalted frames like Mesa or whatever with the Amalgam Furiax body count mod. That being said, you don't need the Incarnon to do that. So this thing is just basically an unnecessary Incarnon. If you want to use it, it's got some good slam attack potential, but I would highly recommend going for other Incarnons this week over the Furiax as your number 1 choice. Again, if you want to use it, it's a very high stat fist weapon. Use the Furiax Wraith with this thing and you'll punch really hard. But yeah, you can pick better stuff this week for sure. Especially on the melee front, the bow is much more ranged than this thing. The last weapon here is a Strut Incarnon. This thing is a very powerful shotgun with a fun Incarnon form. So this thing is usually a pellet shotgun, where you just get a bunch of pellets out with high multi-shot. But once you get some headshots with this weapon, you'll charge the Incarnon form, which causes it to become a rocket launcher, an exploding rocket launcher. I guess most rocket launchers explode, with built-in heat damage and blast, too. This thing can hit really hard. And with some of these really powerful Incarnon perks, it might become one of your new favorite weapons. Blazing Barrel, increasing multi-shot on firing the gun. Like you just fire the gun, you get more multi-shot. How is that not good? Additionally, we got powerful status chance perks and powerful crit chance perks. So you have lots of variation on this weapon. So now that's all said and done, we're the best Incarnons this week. Number 1 is the Furious Incarnon. It is one of the best pistols in the game. It's like number 1 or number 2, depending how you look at it, with the only downside really being the range of this thing. Number 2 for you is going to be either the Latron Incarnon for a rifle that's very powerful, or the Strut Incarnon, a very powerful shotgun. If you already have a very good primary that you like to use, I'd say maybe go for number 3 as the Bow Incarnon. It's very long-range melee, but it is replaceable to an extent. So, yeah, that's my suggestion to you guys this week. Number 1, Furious. Number 2, whatever your choice is between a Latron Bouncing Fireball Launcher rifle or a Rocket Launcher shotgun. They both have really high top-tier stats. But I'd say that I'd probably pick the Latron personally if I was to choose between those two. Hope that's helpful to you guys. Now let's talk about the Nightwave and how the Nightwave is potentially going to be ending here pretty soon. Actually, before we go over that, let's go over the Archon hunt, which is going to be the Owl Archon, with the mission types being Mole Defense, Interception, the final boss showdown. Not the best Archon hunt this week, especially for people that have lots of blue shards already. But yeah, as far as Nightwave guys, we have the Naberus Night starting on Wednesday, but we also got the big Mushroom Frame update on the 15th of October. I believe, and I'm predicting it right now, that they at least give us a 2-week warning on the Nightwave ending. I think that the new Nightwave will start on the 15th, or around the 15th, when the new update comes out, and they'll give us our 2-week warning on the Nightwave either on Wednesday this week or a day or two afterwards. Because they've already shown us the new Nightwave will be starting in the future. So that means if you want this stuff, start grinding it soon if you haven't already started grinding it. As far as Nightwave challenges this week, we got them as follows. Cache Hunter. Find 6 caches across any sabotage missions. Easy enough. Night and Day. Collect 10 Vohm or Phos residue in the Cambion Drift. Unfortunately, resource boosters did not work on this stuff. And for your Elite Weeklies, you got Antiquarian. Open 1 relic of each type besides Requiem. So Lith, Meso, Neo, and Axie. And the other Elite Weekly, Voluntary Specimen. Complete a run of Deep Archimedia or Temporal Archimedia. It does not need to be the elite version. Keep that in mind. And in your permanent weeklies, get a bunch of Eximus kills, get a bunch of mission completion, and get a bunch of normal kills. For your cred offering store, let's see what we got going on. So we got our Evergreen stuff at the top. Get your Nightane, get your Kuva, etc., etc. We got some nice helmets here. See, there's anything that's screaming out to me. You have lots of aura mods, it looks like, this week. Enemy radar is a great one to grab. Corrosive projection is a great one to grab. Sprint boost is a great one to grab. The rest of them are kind of not that needed. You got Metamorphic Magazine for the Gorgon. Very good one. Napalm Grade to the Penta. If you are looking to use the Penta, I'd recommend this mod. We got Precision Strike for the Toncore. Volatile Variant for the Sporothrex. Very necessary mod of that weapon. And you even got Critical Mutation for the Cannibalist, giving you a ton of extra crit on the infested grenade weapon. That is pretty decent, actually. Hilariously, these are both from the same Nightwave season, so you actually could save yourself some Nightwave grinding if you just grab them right here. And you got the Ceramic Dagger blueprint here. Not the Ceramic Dagger Incarnon, but still nice to see this thing available. And you got some decent Conclave augment mods. And that's going to be basically your weekly reset, guys. You got the Naberus Knights event returning on Wednesday. Get those mother tokens to get the returning cosmetics, probably some new cosmetics too, I'd assume. And you got your Mushroom Frame update about a week-ish after that. So I'll see you guys next video. Appreciate support. Actually, it's about 2 weeks after that. So, but yeah, either way, we got also that nice Nova and Mag resurgence too, if you guys are interested in that one. I'll see you guys next one. Take it easy. Peace.